Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for joining me once again for one of these Magic the Gathering box openings there. And, you know, it seems about that time there that, you know, Dragonstorm just came out. So obviously we're going to some Dragonstorm, right? Well, you would be wrong because my boxes have not arrived yet. So as I'm waiting for them there, I thought, why not just go through and open up a couple of boxes while I'm waiting. And in this case here, bring out your whips, get ready for high noon and fan the hammer there because we've got a little bit of Thunder Junction. Now, the specific reason why I ended up choosing Thunder Junction is personally, when this came out, I opened up a couple of boxes for myself, uh, off camera there, so none of that's recorded. And yeah, I haven't opened any of it since. And I know that they had some of the big scorecards in here that, I'd still be looking for. There's some other cards that I would be wanting to look for in here. I never got a Bristly Bill. So, big thing in here, kind of like with the Ixalan box that I had opened up previously where, oops, Cavern of Souls, oops, O'Hare Talk, get some of the good stuff there. I would like to be able to open up some more good stuff in here. Now, I don't exactly know if the vault cards are available in here. I would imagine they would be, just because these are all play boosters, and I think that they would be included in there. So I'm really hoping for it, but as well, I'm also just hoping to get as much cool stuff as possible. So, this is also the return of Oko there, after being hilariously broken there in his format. And it looks like he's distributed weirdly in all of this here. Very, very strange. But I think that this is, well, as I had mentioned before, that Ether Drift, the number of packs went down comparatively, and Thunder Junction, it hasn't. So there should be a good full 36 from where it had been there. So let's not dilly-dally. Going to get right into it there. Oko is going to give me a little bit of luck, a little bit of Eldraine there. We're going to get a little bit of Kellen the Kid action in on this to try to show off that Oko can still be a good dad, right? He can be a good dad. And we got a little hardest card there. So I think in this particular case there, it's going to open up similarly where we go from the back. Ariet's Lullaby there. Voracious Varmint. Explosive Derailment. Sterling Hound. Daring Thunder Thief. Consuming Ashes. Fake Your Own Death, which I think it's a pretty good common there. Till end of your turn, target creature gets +2/+0, gains when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control, and you create a treasure token there. You get to protect your creature, deals a little bit more damage, and then you get a treasure. A little bit of Doc Orlock, Grizzled Genius. A little bit of Neutralize the Guards to get into that vault there. And then a little Betrayal at the vault, a little bit of story to it there. I mean, you've got Vraska fighting off against Oko, fighting off Kellen, a little bit of father-son action there. And for our little rare there, we got a little bit of Stingerback Terror, 2 and 2 red for a 7/7 Scorpion Dragon Flying Trample. Scorpion Dragon, what a cool typing there. Stingerback Terror gets -1/-1 for each card in your hand, so you want to try to get as close to, what do you call it there? Hellbent as possible there to make sure it's as big as possible. So now I don't quite remember how things were. I know that that's slick back shooter or whatever it was. The bird thing was really good. I don't know if this might have been the top end of that deck there. Like you can plot it for 3 to get it for whenever you want later on without paying any mana cost there. I mean, you're paying 1 less for it to essentially come out on a later turn there, which it would have come out on the second turn there anyway. And if you don't really have any cards in your hand there, you can play it out for the 7/7. Doesn't look like it would be that bad there. And getting a little bit of Tornado there from the one of the extra sheets there for the most wanted cards there. And, ooh, foil one from there as well. Outlaws Merriment there. Oh, this was from one of the D&D sets there. 1 a red and 2 white, and it's a little bit hard to see on it there. Outlaws Merriment enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose 1 at random and create a red and white creature token with those characteristics. Either a 3/1 human warrior with trample and haste, a 2/1 human cleric with lifelink and haste, or a 1/2 human rogue with haste, and when this creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to any target. So just a whole lot of different ways to do just a little bit of extra damage there. And a little bit of forest with that bristly bill action. And we got a little art card there of Gissa just being happy as ever, Gissa the Hellraiser trying to find some more corpses to dig up, I guess. But starting off with at least an interesting type there, and getting a foil rare on one of the extra slots there. It's not too bad of a way to start off, though we can always look for a little bit more. A little Sterling Keykeeper. Oh my god, I'm blanking on how to say that. Cactarantula? Cactarantula. Maybe this was like the introduction there of them letting us know, like, we're going to have Final Fantasy real soon. We've got them Cactuars. You better practice the pronunciation with Cactarantula. A little bit of Trick Shot, a little bit of Wanted Griffin, Spring Splasher, Raven of Omens, Quick Draw, like we were talking at the beginning, Marauding Sphinx, a little bit of Rattleback Apothecary, Gorgon Warlock. For a second there, it kind of looked a little bit like that Sphinx in the, Dragon's Dogma 2 or something like that. The game that just came out there. Just came out a little bit ago. Thunder Lasso, and I think that we're on to our last card there, unless there's 4 uncommons. Yep. Oh, what do you know? Gissa the Hellraiser coming right on back with her card. Just, not an art version in the wanted poster. 3 and 2 black for a legendary human warlock 4/4 with ward 2 and pay 2 life. Skeletons and zombies you control get +1/+1 and have menace. And whenever you commit a crime, create 2 tapped 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature tokens. Its ability only triggers once each turn. And again, committing a crime, my goodness, my speech, is doing anything that targets an opponent, anything they control, and or any cards in their graveyards is a crime. Now, I find it a little bit strange. I would feel that dealing damage to them should count, but I don't necessarily think that's technically targeting them. But, oh well. Hey, it's a mythic there for us. We'll take it. And we get a little bit of Essence Capture there, a little bit of Miter Magic, and for foil we get a little Free Strider Commando, a little Centaur with the double blickies. Oh my goodness. It's really riding up on you there. A little bit of Swamp out in the cactuses there as well with the train going through it. Alrighty. So, yeah, it's starting up with double Gissas, I guess. That's one way to start it. Oh, well, here's one of those human warriors that we get from Outlaws Merriment right here. So, starting off strong with those, I guess. Reach for the Sky. Deadeye Duelist. Steer Clear, Razzle Dazzle, Desert's Dew, Jailbreak Scheme, Vile Smasher, Gleeful Grenadier. Bring back a little bit of the Vile Smasher. Bring back a whole lot of people just going through the Omen Paths for whatever reason. Nurturing Pixie, Return the Favor, Gold Rush, and I believe our card is going to be Rakdos the Muscle. Part of the gang showing up. Two black and a red for a legendary Demon Mercenary 6/5 with flying and trample. Whenever you sacrifice another creature, exile cards equal to its mana value from the top of target player's library until your next end step. You may play those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. You may sacrifice another creature, and Rakdos the Muscle gains indestructible until end of turn. You tap it, and you can only activate this once a turn. Now, this goes in to show you one of the big reasons why people did not particularly like this set there. Yes, it's a Magic unique one. It's not one of the Spider-Mans or Final Fantasies that has your random cards in it there. But it's like, Gissa's from Innistrad, yet somehow she's in Thunder Junction. Rakdos the Muscle is, the Guildmaster that's supposed to be sealed away in Ravnica. But for whatever reason, he's in Thunder Junction just randomly helping out. There's just a lot of story beats that just don't make sense. It's just, like they say in all of the stuff there, it's your favorite Magic the Gathering characters just putting on cowboy hats and playing along to some sort of script there. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of Indomitable Creativity, double mythics in the pack there. X and 3 red for a sorcery with destroy X target artifacts and or creatures. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until an artifact or creature card is revealed and exiles that card. Those players put the exile cards onto the battlefield and then shuffle. Trying to get a little bit of new stuff out there. And then, oh my goodness, and we're getting a foil rare there. Colossal Rattleworm there with a giant, absolutely giant, like cactus dung ball there. I guess tumbleweed maybe. 2 and 2 green for a worm, 6/5 with, it has flash as long as you control a desert and trample. And 1 and a green, you can exile Colossal Rattleworm from your graveyard to search your library for a desert card to put it onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. So getting a little bit of ramp if it's in your graveyard you want it there. Or if you've got the desert out there, you can flash in the random 6/5 trampler to try to come in on the next turn there. So, and are we getting all the mythics up front here or something? Because that's 3 so far. Oh, we're getting a little bit of pest there. Looks like it's coming from one of these, whatever they named that specific sheet called. Prickly Pear, there's a little bit of the bristly bill people. The Holy Cow, probably the best common in the set there, just because of its name and picture there. Not for any actual, purpose. Reach for the Sky, Peerless Rope Master, Oasis Gardener, bring a little bit of Scarecrows back, Take Up the Shield, Silver Deputy, Longhorn Sharpshooter, Red Rock Sentinel, Bind and Negotiation, and we're getting a little bit of Botanical Sanctum. So just a little bit of land there. A slow land enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer other lands there. So anytime we get a land, it's good there. We'll take whatever we can get. And we're also going to get a Fierce Retribution there to do a little bit of cleave action. And we're also going to get a Slick Shot Vault Buster. And, a Foil Swamp this time with that same kind of artwork there with the train. All right. Getting some of the land there. We'll definitely take some of the land. But we still have quite a bit to go there. A little bit of clues for us. Gonna have a Dead-Eye Duelist, an Inventive Wingsmith, Tumbleweed Rising, Jailbreak Scheme, Slickshot Vault Buster, Ambush, Gigapede. This town ain't big enough. Shepherd of the Clouds, Sandstorm Verge, a little bit of desert action there, and then for our rare, looks like we could potentially get multiple rares in these. I keep on forgetting that. I think that's how we got like multiple of these. Annie joins up. One, a red, a green, and a white for a legendary enchantment. Kind of similar to the Oaths of the Gatewatch there. When Annie joins up, enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Just kind of get something out of there. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Okay. We'll have to see about that there, because if you got a commander deck that has that in it there, or even if you're putting it into some sort of legendary creature tribal like Joda or Captain Sisay there, then having those things go multiple times definitely seems to help out there. But you're in Bantho, so you got to be careful about what you put in. And we're also going to get, there we are, one of the Vault cards there. I don't think I have this. This one doesn't look familiar to me. Hostile Investigator, 3 and a black for a 4/3 Ogre Rogue Detective. Bringing back a little bit of the detectives from good old Karlov Manor, the most hated set of 2024. When Hostile Investigator enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card, and whenever one or more players discard one or more cards, investigate. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay. Now, I'm thinking that this is a good one there for me to look at with the aforementioned Angie Falconroth deck that I've talked about before, specifically because if you're not hitting certain things, you can run out of card draw, and if you're not getting enough lands out, then Angie kind of sputters against things. So being able to get some more card draw there seems like it'd be a good idea. And we're also going to get a Mr. Broken himself, Oko, the Thief of Crowns, in his Texan outfit there, his good old Western look. 1, a green and a blue, Oko, Thief of Crowns, legendary planeswalker, Oko, starting with 4 loyalty. Put down 2, get that food token. +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a 3/3 green elk token with base power and toughness 3/3. And 5, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control and target creature and opponent controls with power 3 or less. Absolutely dominating formats, because you can create that food, nothing's out there. You can make that food the next turn into a 3/3, or opponent has a creature that just an artifact or a creature that just seems to be like doing a whole lot. Yeah, let's make it lose all of its abilities there. Or you've got that food token that you put out there with 2. Next turn, you're like, I want that thing that they have out there that's doing a whole lot. Yeah, I'm gonna take it there. Yeah, absolutely busted card. What a pack there, Getting another 2 mythics in it there, and getting a little Ferocification. Oh my god, giant lightning mole or something like that. Yikes. A little bit of Lonely Arroyo. What did I just say? Lonely Arroyo. A little bit of desert action in there. Double desert. I mean, hey, if they want to keep on giving me mythics, like, I don't mind. Like, I wasn't really expecting to get someone, like, if they were all there and everything else is just going to be, like, a rare from now on, like, I get it. But it's like, keep on giving me mythics, please. Like, I'll definitely take it. Irascible Wolverine. Irascible? irascible. Like, what do they think that we are? Do they think that we just know a lot of words there? Like, jeez, yikes. Steer Clear, Drover Grizzly, Geyser Drake, Mirage Mesa, Desert's Dew, The Wreckish Crew, Outcaster Greenblade, Shoot the Sheriff, and I think that this is our card here. Nope. Omenport Vigilante, and another Colossal Rattleworm there. Coming in with that flash there, 6/5 Trampler. Just, non-foil this time. And anything else? Back for more, just returning something to the field from the graveyard, and getting a little bit of Corrupted Conviction there. Yeah, he had like some crazy typings as well. I think that he was also like a Scorpion Dragon or something. A little bit of Festering Gulch to get a little bit more desert out there. Yeah, I mean, there is some art that goes hard in this here, but, then you've also got your favorite Magic the Gathering character wearing a cowboy hat. Mine Raider, Mystical Tether, Free Strider Commando with his double pistols there. The Lone Shark being absolutely literal, just like our Holy Cow. Ooh, you've got a contender Holy Cow, but I don't know, maybe Irascible Wolverine will have to become the mascot of the set. Take the Fall, Boneyard Desecrator, Ankle Biter. Ankle Biter, not quite as good as Ankle Shanker, in my opinion there. Honest Rutstein, Metamorphic Blast, Map the Frontier, and Pitiless Carnage. 3 and a black for a sorcery with sacrifice any number of permanents you control, then draw that many cards. Okay, get rid of a whole bunch of your stuff there, and do a little bit of aristocrat style. Get rid of a whole bunch of your tiny tokens that you don't need, get a bunch of those death triggers out, and then you draw just a whole bunch of cards there. Plot it for essentially 1 mana cheaper. You just have to pay an extra black into it there. Not too shabby. And a little bit of Fell the Mighty, getting another little rare in there. 4 and a white for a sorcery with destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature. Make sure that you choose what should stay on the field. Now that actually feels really good with some of those defender decks there. I can't quite remember. I would expect that card would be in there. If not, that's a good addition to it there. And just be like, yeah, my cards with like 0 toughness, with 1 toughness there. Everything else goes. Kind of a good deal. And then a little bit of Stagecoach Security and a foil Festering Gulch there this time. Alrighty, I mean, because what was it there? The whole theory is that all of these different, what do you call it there? Sheets there, because it's got these jail ones, and this has the vault there's that potentially it was going to be another like March of the Machine Aftermath / Assassin's Creed situation where it was like the mini sets there, and then they saw how terribly those sold because it was criminally done. No one's going to pay the same amount of money for a third of the cards in the packs. No, especially when they're not that good. But yeah, they want to keep on giving me hits like this. I'll take it any day of the week. A little bit of Reckless Lackey, Outlaw Medic, Spine Woods Paladin, Seize the Secrets, Vengeful Townsfolk, Rooftop Assassin, Overzealous Muscle, Prosperity Tycoon, Slick Shot Lockpicker, Luxurious Locomotive, that little train that we see all over the place there. Whenever it attacks, create a treasure token for each creature that crewed this turn. Only crew it for 1, but, tap as many as you want for it there, and you get it. It's not too shabby there. I'm interested. And a little bit of Magda, the Horde Master there. Not quite the same Magda that we know from a little bit of high-level play there. 1 and a red for a legendary dwarf berserker with 2/2 with whenever you commit a crime, create a tapped treasure token. It only activates once a turn, and you can sack 3 treasures to create a 4/4 red scorpion dragon creature token with flying and haste. Okay. And we're getting a little bit of Skewer the Critics, do a little bit of damage with that spectacle cost there, and a little bit of Forsaken Miner again, get that Skeleton Rogue, and getting the full art swamps on those ones there. A little bit of Mirelands there, and a lot of sludge to show off how spooky it is, if you will. Alrighty, keep on going there. Oh, the good old mercenaries for the regular cards there. Got a Quilled Charger, Armored Armadillo. Pangolins are one of my favorite animals there, so seeing an armadillo, we like that in this house. Hard Bristle Bandit, a little bit of Bristly Bill action. Mourner's Surprise. Failed Fording, getting a little bit of that, what do you call it there? Oregon Trail action. Nezumi Linkbreaker. Gem Lightfoot Sky Explorer. Plan the Heist. Demonic Ruckus there. Getting a little bit of that Rakdos the Muscle. And not Boombox, but a little bit of Malcolm the Eyes. Blue and a red for a legendary Siren Pirate 2/2 with flying and haste. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, do a little bit of investigating. Doing a little bit of extra card draw. Okay. And we've also got Ride Down and Consuming Ashes as well, with a little bit of forest action there. That forest action is not quite as much desert as it is plains there, but the plains have these giant archways. But, there is Arches National Park in the United States, so I guess that also kind of makes sense, though Arches is kind of in a bit of a desert area itself. Not like Cactus Desert, but just like there's nothing around desert. Highway Robbery, Stagecoach Security, Throw from the Saddle, Desperate Bloodseeker, Gold Pan, Phantom Interference, Frontier Seeker, Arid Archway, Resilient Roadrunner there. I think that this is another great one there, just memeing on Coyote on Roadrunner there, because it's got protection from coyotes itself. And it can't be blocked except by creatures with haste, so, it's a fast-running bird. And we're also getting a little bit of Insatiable Avarice, getting a little of that coinage in the eye there. For 1 black, you get a sorcery that does nothing. That's right, it does nothing. It's got the spree mechanic, a new one there that lets you choose what you want to do. So you can add an extra 2 colorless on top of that 1 black there to search your library for any card that you want, put it on top of your deck, or you can add an additional 2 black on top of your original 1 black for target player to draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. However, if you so choose, you can put all of those together, 3 black and 2 colorless, 5 mana total, and you can put these in any order that you want. You can draw your 3 cards and then search to put something on top, but why do that when you can search up the perfect thing that you need, draw those 3 cards to take that 3 life, and now you've got the perfect thing in your hand at that time there. It is a little bit expensive, though. That's the only problem. And, we're getting another mythic from the vault there. A little bit of World Waker Helm. 2 and a blue for an artifact with, if you would create 1 or more artifact tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional map token, which is an artifact with 1, tap it and sack it, and target creature you control explores. The artifact also has 1 and a blue and tap to create a token that's a copy of target artifact token you control. You got that treasure out there, you can make another treasure. You've made a token copy of some creature there, and it's also an artifact. You can get more of those as well. Kind of nice. And we're also getting a little bit of Heartless Pillage there, and some Rise of the Varmints, and nice planes there of looking out into the clouds and seeing across the mesas, and just seeing the country, if you would. Get rid of those there. So far, yeah, you know, what is that, six mythics so far? I mean, that's more than I was expecting to get. Alrighty, next up there, we got a little bit of Rodeo Pyromancers. You know, and some Sterling Supplier, Patient Naturalist, Fault Plunderer, Conduit Pylons, Stop Cold, Quick Draw, Spinewood's Armadillo, another Armadillo class, perfect. Intimidation Campaign, Servant of the Stinger, coming a little bit of a Deadly Scorpion there, and I think get a little bit of Obeka, Splitter of Seconds, 1 blue, black, and red for Legendary Ogre Warlock 2/5 with Menace. Whenever Obeka deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. It's a weird one there, but, you know, get a lot of those upkeep triggers there, and you're doing a whole lot of stuff, whether that's taking off counters from your Ancestral Visions there to make sure you draw those 3 cards faster, or you have anything that triggers in your upkeep there, you're getting all of that extra off of Obeka. And we're also going to get a little bit of Vanishing Verse for a white and a black. We get an instant with Exile Target Monocolored Permanent there. Just a little bit of extra on top of what we had there. Oh, 3 rares in this one here. So we got this foil, Outcaster Trailblazer, 2 and a green for a Human Druid 4/2 with when this enters the battlefield, you add 1 mana of any color. And whenever another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. And it's got plot with the exact same value of it there. Though you might not want it out first turn there because, you know, it provides you that 1 extra mana. If you're playing it for free, you get 1 extra mana there. So next turn, if you play down a land, you can play something for 5 there. And you might be able to draw that card if it's got power 4 or greater. Alrighty. And it looks like we got a little bit of foil Jagged Barons. Jared Baggins. You know, getting a little bit of that new Lord of the Rings action. Alrighty. Keep on going. Big construct from the vault there. Discerning Peddler, Bridled Bighorn, Giant Beaver, just, you know, them beavers always out there. Black Snag Buzzard, Trained Erinix, Gin of Fool's Fall, Silic Sequence, Ferocification with our giant, what are those called? Meerkats. Caught in the Crossfire, Rambling Possum, just big old possum there, and getting a little bit of Bruce Tarl. Bruce Tarl's coming back there. Roving Rancher, 2, a red and a white for Legendary Human Warrior, 4/3 with Oxen you control of Double Strike. And whenever Bruce Tarl enters the battlefield or attacks, exile the top card of your library. If it's a land card, create a 2/2 white Ox creature token. Otherwise, you may cast until the end of the turn. You know, just a little card there. And getting a little bit of Dismissive Denial as well. And a little Step Between Worlds. A little bit of Kellen finding his way between, to find his way, between, I don't know, well, he was an investigator before this one here. 3 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Each player may shuffle their hand and graveyard into their library. Each player who does draws 7 cards, and then you exile Step Between Worlds. Or you can plot it for an additional 1 mana so that you can play it later on when you really want it to. It's fine. It's a little slow because it is 5 or 6 mana to cast, and we got a good full our island there, waterfall, and we can just barely see that water symbol right there, and a little crack in it to show the little bit of glare, I guess, coming off of it there. And then this giant old construct from who knows where. Maybe a little bit of high tech inside that vault there. Loot's not the only thing that we have inside there. Whoops! I gave away what's inside of the vault. Oh no. Everyone must feel really cheated. Snakeskin Veil, Iron Fist Pulverizer, Dance of the Tumbleweeds, Bristlepack Sentry, Harrier Strix, Form a Posse, Scorching Shot, Rustler Rampage. Oh, and it looks like we might get a couple of them here. Marchesa, Dealer of Death, blue, black, and red for legendary human rogue 3/4. Whenever you commit a crime, you may pay 1. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Filling up your graveyard and getting a few extra cards in your hand seems fine. But again, Marchesa, what's this queen doing out in the middle of nowhere in Thunder Junction? Also getting up, ooh, another mythic there, Archangel of Tithes. 1 and 3 white for a 3/5 angel with flying, and as long as Archangel of Tithes is untapped, creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller plays 1 for each of those. And as long as Archangel of Tithes is attacking, creatures can't block unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. Okay, getting a little bit of that Ghostly Prison action there. I'm not sure if this is a reprint from somewhere or not, but, doing a little bit of stacks actions there. And, hey, if you give it Vigilance somehow, you get both of the effects. I'm pretty sure that this is a reprint from somewhere, though. I feel like I've seen that more than once. And we're also getting, a Grand Abolisher. 2 mythics in a pack. Good old classic Grand Abolisher, 2 white for a 2/2 human cleric with during your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Just a yikes. They can't do anything for you there. Hey, keep on giving us plenty of stuff. I don't mind. Good old classic Murder, another giant beaver, and now we're just missing out on the forest, I think. We got a big mountain there with the rocks just sort of randomly forming up there. Kind of giving a little bit of that Zendikar vibe of just floating islands a little bit. So far, so good. I don't exactly know what the value of things are. I know that Terror of the Peak and Bristly Bill are kind of the big ones to look for in here, but we've gotten plenty of cards. Plenty of hits at least. Tumbleweed Rising, Iron Fist Pulverizer, Throw from the Saddle, Daring Thunder Thief, Raven of Fall, Omens, Bristlepack Sentry, Nimble Brigand, Lazov, Familiar Stranger. Again, another guild leader of Ravnica why is he here? Forsaken Miner, and a little bit of Breaches the Blastmaker. Breach is showing up a whole lot here. We saw him in Ixalan not too much earlier from this. 1, a blue, and a red for a legendary Goblin Pirate, 3/3 with Menace. And whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you may sack an artifact. If you do, flip a coin. If you win the flip, copy it. You may choose new copies for the copy. When you lose the flip, Breaches the Blastmaker deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target. All in all, there's no lose-lose here. You either copy the spell, or you blast at something with it. It kind of makes it just normally with some of those, it's like, hey, you're going to get a bad option if you go to Elves. I guess not. Ooh, well, Botanical Sanctum. I'm pretty sure that was the land that we got from earlier. Yeah, we did, but this is the a full art version of it there that has the train on it. Very, very nice. You know, just a really nice thing that, you know, in these play boosters here, you can still get some of the extra cards there, like these ones here, though I guess, you know, these are in each of them, but you're still able to get those ones as well, which is nice. A little bit of Clear Shot there, a little Prosperity Tycoon, and a Lush Oasis Desert to round it out there. Okay, you know, we're getting plenty of packs that have multiple rares in them. Like, you know, thematically, this might not have been the greatest set, but I mean, pulling a lot of hits. Mine Raider, Inventive Wingsmith, Dance of the Tumbleweeds, Spring Splasher, Black Snag Buzzard, Conduit Pylons, Bounding Felidar, Baron Bertrand Greywater, Brimstone Roundup, and getting Omen Port Vigilante. And then last we got Riku of Many Paths, coming back from the good old classic OG Commander decks there. Instead of Riku of 2 paths, we got the multi-path now. Green, blue, and red for a legendary Human Wizard 3/3 with whenever you cast a mode of spell, choose up to X, where X is the number of times you chose a mode for that spell. Exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play it. Put a +1/+1 on Riku of Many Paths that gains trample until end of turn. Or create a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying. I don't quite enjoy it as much as the OG Riku, but that's mostly because the OG Riku let you copy a whole bunch of stuff there. So it had a home for me. And a good old classic Villainous Wealth. Good old finisher there. X black, green, and blue for a sorcery with target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library, and you may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. Mill them out a bunch, play all their big stuff there, get absolutely everything, and you can cast any number of spells. So the only thing that you're not able to do with this is essentially get to take a land from among all of their stuff there. But hey, again, you know, that's multiple rares. And here's the bird that comes with Riku. It came in its same pack. And get a little bit of Fake Your Death. Okay, I'll definitely take a foil Fake Your Own Death there. And a little Forlorn Flats as well. We'll have to see if any of these commons or uncommons might have a little bit of value in them if they're still played, since kind of standard is a lot bigger now. We got a 3/3 Golem, also from this vault set there. A little bit of Thunder Salvo, Ariet's Lullaby, Voracious Varmint, Stop Cold, Skullduggery, good old classic Skullduggery, Corrupted Conviction, Make Your Own Luck, Lively Dirge, Shackle Slinger, and maybe we have it here. Ooh, we got the good old classic Matthew Mercer playing Jesse McCree. I mean, we have to change his name because of all of the stuff that ended up happening with him there. So it's Cassidy now, right? It's Cassidy, as we're going to noon. Let's stop like moving around there. 1 and a white for an enchantment with each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. Pay 4 and a red to sacrifice High Noon. It deals 5 damage to any target. You know, it's one there that really just acts as a little bit like a stacks piece there. Can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. You know, you're limited. That you're cutting off Malcolm, who needs those 2 spells. And we're also getting Jace coming back as a Planeswalker there. Another mythic for us. Jace Reawakened. 2 blue for a legendary Planeswalker Jace, starting with 3 loyalty with you can't cast the spell during your first, second, or third turns of the game. Because he's so cheap, they wanted to make it so that you couldn't get him out early because he might pop off if he does. For one of his +1s, you draw a card and discard a card. Pretty simple there. For his other +1, you may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. So basically, if you get to, if you want to, play a 3 mana card or less, that's a non-land, for free on an upcoming turn there. That's insane. For -6 until the end of turn, whenever you cast a spell, copy it. You may cast new targets for the copy. It's fine there. I mean, you're definitely not looking at the most people, you shouldn't be looking at the ultimate of a planeswalker. It's a fine ultimate. It's not the most impactful there. I mean, you have to have the right spell to really win the game with it there. It's this middle one that's really the big one there, just getting to play stuff for free just on future turns there. Oh no. You got the mana to play the things that you actually want now, and then you just take something in your hand and you're able to play it at another time later on. You can only play it as a sorcery, but still, I mean, that's not too bad. I also get a little bit of Hindering Light there, and a little bit of Nezumi Link Breaker going back to the Kamigawa, and a little bit of Eroded Canyon. Well, we got main character coming back in to essentially kill Kellen, because I don't think Kellen was all that popular there, because I'm not sure if he really showed up after Thunder Junction. He found his dad, and then it was just like, yeah, Jace kind of like kicked my butt. And then he just never showed up again. Reach for the Sky, Thunder Salvo, Take Up the Shield, Slickshot Vault Buster, Boneyard Desecrator, Hollow Marauder, Take for a Ride, Stubborn Burrow Fiend, Bucolic Ranch, and we got Hellspur Posse Boss. 2 and 2 red for a Lizard Rogue 2/4 with other outlaws you control have haste, and all outlaws that you got there are assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks. And whenever Hellspur Posse Boss enters the battlefield, you create 2 1/1 red mercenary creature tokens with tap. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. But because they are mercenaries, as you see there, they have haste, so they can use those abilities there. Or, they can attack in if you really want to. We're also going to get, now here we go. A little secret guest action there. Classic Desert, which is, you would have guessed it, a desert. Tap to add 1 colorless mana, or you can tap it and Desert deals 1 damage to target attacking creature. Activate only during the end of combat step. I wasn't expecting to draw into a special guest there. And I'll certainly take it there, because you don't really get much of those all that often. Getting a little bit of Abrupt Decay there. I remember when that used to be like the premier targeted removal. When, what was that there? That was Return to Ravnica, I think. 1 black, 1 green for an instant with this spell can't be countered. Destroy target non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less. Yep. Honest Rustine, giving us the good stuff. And we're also going to get a little bit of Inventive Wingsmith and an island. And, what is this one here? Contagion Engine there. Getting a little bit of signed Contagion Engine. Don't mind if I do. It is a very nifty artwork, though. I'm not going to lie on that one there. That is a pretty good one there. I wouldn't mind getting one of those in one of these packs. Hint, hint. If they're listening to me. But, all right. A little bit of Free Strider Commando, Prickly Pear, Steer Clear, Desert Stew, Lone Chalk, Oasis Gardener, Corrupted Conviction, Outlaw Stitcher, Bandits Hall, Raucous Entertainer, and we're also going to get a little bit of Bonnie Paul Clear Cutter, big. 3 green and 2 blue for a legendary Giant Scout 6/5 with reach. When Bonnie Paul Clearcutter enters the battlefield, create Bow, a legendary blue Ox creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. And whenever you attack, draw a card, then you may put a land from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. It's got a lot of abilities. You know, you put down it for 6, and you're getting another body with it there. It says whenever you attack, you know, that's whenever you attack with a creature, you're going to get more cards, put more land, and then putting more stuff from your hand and graveyard on the battlefield. This is definitely one that you don't want to let leave on the battlefield for very long. And we're also going to get a little bit of Archmage's Charm there. From the good old OG Modern Horizons there. 3 blue for an instant with choose 1. Counter target spell. Target player draws 2 cards. Or gain control of target non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. And ending out with an Omen Port Vigilante that we keep on seeing there, and a little bit of Swamp, but you know, it keeps on being the one that I'm like, oh, is this the rare? And then it's just that guy there. Alrighty, we're about halfway through here, and I don't lie, we got some good stuff so far. If we can keep on going with that into the second half, I'll be pretty happy. Another art card there. A little bit of Tumbleweed Rising. Ooh, there's our boy, the irascible Wolverine. Outlaw Medic. Skill Degree. Jailbreak Scheme. Razzle Dazzler. Outlaws Fury. Badlands Revival. Making some new little cactus boys there with Bristly Bill. Beastbone Outcaster. Magebane Lizard. And is this going to be our rare? It is. It's going to be Tiny Bones joining up this time. Good old Tiny Bones. For 1 black, you get a legendary enchantment when this enters. Any number of target players each discard a card, and whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, any number of target players each mill a card and lose 1 life. It's a fine one there, especially if you're able to keep on bringing one back that dies a whole lot. We're also going to get that Hindering Light again, and a little bit of Harrier Strix, and a Mountain there, and we're going to get a little bit of Vraska joins up there. She's petrified someone already there. She really wants her man. She really wants Jace again. She wants to make up for being the, what was it, Sting of Betrayal there. After kind of, after kind of Phyrexiarizing Jace there. Oh, another art card there. It's the same card that we got, Archangel of Tithes. Drover Grizzly, Deadeye Duelist, Armored Armadillo, all right. Ambush Gigantopede, Peerless Rope Master, Vengeful Townsfolk, Cunning Coyote. Here we are to our Roadrunner there, Haste. And whenever it enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains haste until the end of the turn there. But that Roadrunner, it's got protection from coyotes. Sorry, you're not going to be able to do anything, Wily, this time. Blood Hustler, Fleeting Reflection, Hellspur Brute, and we're going to finish that one up there with Roxanne, Starfall Savant. 3 a red and a green for a legendary cat druid for 3 with whenever Roxanne Starfall Savant enters the battlefield or attacks, create a tapped colorless artifact token named Meteorite with when this ETBs, it deals 2 damage to any target and tap. Add 1 mana of any color. Whenever you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token produced. So, you get Roxanne out there. Start making some of these there. They're tapping for 2 colors of anything that you want. That's some ramp there. A little bit of Imp's Mischief. 1 and a black for an instant with change the target spell with a single target. You lose life equal to that spell's mana value there. Hey, I mean, even if it's a big thing, if you want to do it, you take it. You get a little spring splasher there and a foil creosote heath there. And we're getting a little bit of that Archangel of Tithes art there as well. You know, the cape there just flowing off into the feathers of the wing. Alrighty. On truckin'. What do we got this time? Another art card. This time, Path to Exile, the good old classic. Hard Bristle Bandit, Highway Robbery, Mystical Tether, Nezumi Link Breaker, Seize the Secrets, Phantom Interference, Overzealous Muscle, Wrangler of the Damned, Aloe Alchemist, Mobile Homestead, and we're getting a little bit of Ariette, the Beguiler, coming all the way from Eldraine, where she got kicked out because nobody liked her. Nobody liked being asleep. 1, a white, a blue, and a black for a legendary human warlock. 4/4 with lifelink, and whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that aura's mana value, gain control of that permanent for as long as that aura is attached to it. You know, you're just taking all of their stuff if you want to there, but you have to have some high mana value stuff if you want to take their bigger things. And we get a little bit of fling there, just a little bit of Ghost Rider, doing a little bit of penance there, just flinging it right out there, getting a little bit of Slick Sequence and another Festering Gulch there. And we got our Path to Exile just walking away. Home on the range. Now, one book that a few of my friends have talked about there is like Blood Meridian there for like a Western book to read, and looks like this gnome's another one of these there. But I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Westerns there. I mean, so like this doesn't really do a whole lot other than like it's got new cards for me there. So I probably won't end up reading that one there. Spinewoods Paladin, Discerning Peddler, holy cow, Rooftop Assassin. Geyser Drake, Mirage Mesa, Ankle Biter, Ankle Shanker, Ruthless Lawbringer, Prairie Dog. That's where we got our like ferocification from. And are we going to get an uncommon or a rare? We're going to get another uncommon and return the favor. And for our rare, we're going to get Smuggler's Surprise, getting a good old Trojan horse for some reason in this here. It really doesn't make any sense to me there. Smuggler's Surprise for green. This should have been in Theros, if anything. Like, why is it here? It is. We've got a crow and horse. What is this doing in here? We got a green for an instant with Spree, so it does nothing for green. You're going to add 2 to mill 4 cards, and you may put up to 2 creatures and or lands from among the milled ones specifically to your hand. You can pay an additional 4 and a green to put up to 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield, and you can pay an additional 1 for creatures you control with power 4 or greater to gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So, if you want to, for a green and a colorless there, you can essentially make a heroic intervention for creatures that are only 4 or greater there, you know. But, you know, if you've got a lot of mana to spend, if you've got 8 mana to spend, you can mill the cards, put 2 creature lands into your hand, hopefully 2 creatures, and then put 2 creatures from your hand on the battlefield. Try to cheat out some mana, but still costs a lot to do it. A little bit of Terminal Agony. Ooh, kind of like that artwork there, and might want to replace that in the Angie deck there. and getting a little bit of explosive derailment and a little bit of jagged barons there. Still, why is that in there? Makes no sense. This set already makes no sense, so like, what am I complaining about? Another art card there. Our boy, look at that schnoz on him there. The boy. The Street Sharks before they got into Aether Drift. Nice. Nice. Giant Beaver, Reckless Lackey, Stagecoach Security, Stop Cold, Desperate, Bloodseeker, Take the Fall, At Knife Point, Getaway Glamour, Full Steam Ahead, Gold Rush, and a little bit of Key to the Vault there. One in a blue for a legendary artifact equipment. Whenever a cryptid creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may exile a non-land card from among them, put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order, and you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So basically, you plot a card for free based off of how many cards that you put out there. Has to be a spell, though. Can't be a land. There, because you can't cast a land. It also says exile non-land. Equipped for 2 and a blue. Not too bad. I mean, you gotta swing in and hit somebody with it there to get the free spells, and the free spell can't be used until the next turn there, so gotta be careful with that. Getting a little bit of Fierce Retribution off of that, and a little bit of Eartha Joe, Frontier Mentor, a little bit of Core, so she's probably in from some Zendikari place, and a little bit of Mountain with our good old Lone Shark buddy. There definitely should be a Irascible Wolverine full art card there if they've got a Lone Shark. We've got the boy, the schnoz, but we also need the boy, the Irascible. Good old Elk. Elk for Oko? Hey, yikes. Rodeo Pyromancers, Bridled Bighorn, Failed Fording, Mourner's Surprise, Gold Pan, Quick Draw, Unscrupulous Contractor, Lava Spur Boots, which I think were a pretty good enchantment at the time when it came out there. 1 mana play, 1 mana to cast. Creature gets +1/+0. You know, the extra damage probably isn't too much there, but it gains haste and ward 1. Paying that extra 1 to try to get rid of something can be kind of good there. Get a little bit of Requisition Raid there. Oh, we got the boy, Bristly Bill Spinesower. Damn, we're really getting everything now. Bristly Bill, 1 in a green for a legendary plant druid 2/2. With landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 on target creature. And for 3 and 2 green, you double the number of +1/+1 on each creature you control. You double them up there, and then you get something like your doubling season out there, and it's like, double the numbers, keep on doubling numbers. Yikes, we are getting the good stuff here. This is a good box of this here. I'm imagining that this is definitely worth more than the amount that I paid for it there. And we're getting another mythic from the vault there. Molten Duplication. 1 and a red for a sorcery with create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste until end of turn. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step there. Interesting. Those go really well together. Those go really well together. Make a copy of the thing that you want. Pay an additional 2 to make this here. This specifically says sacrifice this token at the end of it there. It is not an effect of the token itself. So you can keep on making it with World Waker Helm and it sticks around. Nice. Nice interaction there. Good old green-blue being my favorite there. And we're also going to get a little bit of Ride Down. A little bit of the foil Cactarantula. That definitely means that I'm going to get a foil giant Cactuar whenever I open up my Final Fantasy stuff, right? I want that 10,000 attack creature. And a good little plains there. And an elk. I don't know what it is. Get the good old, good old Cavern of Souls there when we open up the Ixalan. We get Bristly Bill in this one. I mean, if I can keep on opening stuff and get some awesome stuff, because like all of the Innistrad stuff also, there were good mythics in those ones as well. Cold Charger, Sterling Keykeeper, Patient Naturalist, Harrier Strix, Vault Plunderer, Trained Aeronix, Overzealous Muscle, Unfortunate Accident, Erthajo, Frontier Mentor, Emergent Haunting, which kind of gives you a little bit of that Duskmorn flavor there as well. Interesting. Getting a little bit of, sorry, Annie. We're asking you to come back for one last job. What an expensive spree. You have to start off with 2 and a white to do absolutely nothing on a sorcery. You have to then, on top of that there, pay an additional 2 to return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, or an additional 1 to return target mount or vehicle from your graveyard to the battlefield, or an additional 1 for returning target or enchantment from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to a creature you control. That's a lot of mana there. It's a lot of mana. Ooh, getting another mythic there. A little bit of Crime and Punishment. For crime, we've got a little bit of 3, a white, and a black for a sorcery of put target creature or enchantment card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And punishment is going to be an X, a black, and a green for a sorcery with destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with mana value X. Definitely feels like I was going to say, it feels like a Ravnica card. Is this card from one of the Ravnica sets that came right before War of the Spark? That's my guess. That's my guess of where it would come from there. Another mythic. We'll certainly take it there. And the foil. Holy cow. Holy cow. And a foil Lush Oasis. Tons of foils here. And treasure. We're getting everything there. We're getting the Lone Shark. We're getting the Holy Cow. Come on. Give us the Irascible Wolverine there. We need that one so bad. The mascot of everything Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Well, we're getting that same human warrior that we did for the other ones. Not getting the other ones, though. Voracious Varmint, another good candidate for mascot there. Trick Shot, Sterling Supplier, Mirage Mesa, Wanted Griffin, Jin of Fool's Fall, Corrupted Conviction, Lazov wandering around again, Mobile Homestead, the Roadrunner, and we're going to get a little bit of Vadmir, New Blood, an actual new card here, instead of, just dress up. 1 and a black for a legendary vampire rogue 2/2 with whenever you commit a crime, put a +1/+1 on Vadmir, New Blood. And as long as Vadmir has 4 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has Menace and Lifelink. A little bit slow there, since you can only commit a crime once a turn there. So, it's a little bit too slow. A little bit of Clear Shot. A little bit of Ambush Gigapede, and a little bit of the Full Art Swamp there. Alrighty. This one here done, and we're going to be 3/4 of the way through. Alrighty. A little bit of Free Strider Commando, Irascible Wolverine. The boy. Holy cow. That's an irascible Wolverine. In the two guys right in a row. If only we got a loan shark in this one as well. Vengeful townsfolk. Oh, we got a skullduggery in this one here. We're getting all the meats. Oh, we got the loan shark. We got all of them in here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. The perfect pack for me. Oh my goodness. A little bit of Outlaws, Fury, Baron Bertram Greywater, Unscrupulous Contractor, Lava Spur Boots, and we're going to get a little bit of... Oh, and we get the Terror of the Peak. We get both of the big cards. Oh my goodness. I mean, the only thing that we could do to get better is if we got some of these guys that were like 30, 40, 50 bucks. Terror of the Peaks, 3 and 2 red for a 5/4 dragon with flying. Spells your opponents cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Oh my goodness, just damage on damage on damage. You want to get rid of it? Damage. What's with these cards? Damn. And a little bit of skull crack there. 1 and a red for an instant with players can't gain life this turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Skullcrack deals 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. Hey, I'll take any extras that you can give me there. And a little bit of Canyon Crab. And a little bit of Full Art Plains. No Full Art Forest, though. What a good one there for us to be 3/4 of the way through. Have Bristly Bill. We got Terror of the Peaks. We got Desert. We got a bunch of everything there. We barely got any duplicates as well. I mean, here's a duplicate there. Here's a little bit of Annie Joins Up. There's your duplicate. A Drover Grizzly, Prickly Pear. We got your stuff already. Inventive Wingsmith, Take the Fall, Nezumi, Link Breaker, Peerless Rope Master, Prairie Dog, Scalestorm Summoner, Trash the Town. Well, I guess there's our... I guess we're getting multiple rares in this one. Great Train Heist, 1 red for an instant with Spree. Give us 2 in a red to untap all creatures you control. If it's your combat phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. For an additional 2, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. And for an additional red, you can choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that player this turn, create a tapped treasure token. Now this one, I really feel like I want to put into my multiple combat step deck there, where I'm doing a whole lot of combat steps there, because you pay some extra mana in it to make your guys bigger, first strike, get an additional combat, and get a ton of treasures to be able to do stuff with. That's going to be going into that deck that I'm brewing up. And we're also going to get another one of these ones here. Harvester of Misery, 3 and 2 black for a 5/4 Spirit with Menace. Whenever it enters the battlefield, other creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Getting a little bit of that, what's her name there? The Massacre Girl. 1 in a black, discard Harvester of Misery. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn there. Not too shabby. Gets around indestructible and targeted. A little bit of Buried in the Garden. A little bit of Ankle Biter, Ankle Shanker there, Swamp, and the Annie Joins Up. I don't know, this isn't a terribly expensive box to get, and getting a whole lot of hits there. I'm really thinking that I might get some more boxes of this just because of the number of hits that you get from it. A little bit of Patient Naturalist, a little bit of Mine Raider, Mystical Tether, Oasis Gardener, Ambush Gigapede, Geyser Drake, Bounding Felidar, Ruthless Lawbringer, Tomb Trawler, Visage Bandit, and a little bit of Fibblethip, Lost on the Range, home on the range. 1 and 2 blue for a legendary homunculus 1/1 with ward 2. With, you can look at the top card of your library at any time. Top card of your library as plot. Plot is equal to its mana cost there, which sometimes it's more expensive there. And you may plot non-land cards from the top of your library. I don't know. I kind of like it. No one knows what you're gonna put out there for the plot. I mean, they'll know once you put it out there, and they'll be able to expect it later. But you're able to play it for free and kind of set things up. And a little bit of that Path to Exile that we saw in that card before. Good old Path. For 1 white, you get an instant with exile target creature. Its controller may search their library for a basic land, put that card onto the battlefield topped, and then shuffle. So, had been a staple there. I think it's kind of fallen off a little bit there but Swords to Plowshares is definitely the better one since it just gives them a little bit of extra life and, they don't get to ramp off of it there. But I'll still take it in the extra artwork there. It's a nice looking card. Get a little bit more of that Rakish Crew going on there and a little bit of Lush Oasis. And we get that same card that's coming up all the time for us there. Come on, keep on giving us those hits. I don't mind. A little bit Giant Beaver, Lectus Lackey, Outlaw Medic, Failed Forwarding, Rooftop Assassin, Sees the Secrets, Getaway, Glimmer, Nimble Brigand, Sheriff of Safe Passage, and here we go, our Pillage the Bog, black and a red for a sorcery with, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is to twice the number of lands you control. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and you can plot it for an extra amount there. For 1 extra 1 there. But, you can plot it up early and then you can just wait until later on when you got a lot more lands, because it's twice the number of lands to look for the best card. You put 1 card in your hand, pick that best card there. That's not a shabby card either there. And, we're getting another one there. That's a ton of mythics that we're getting. For Mori Vault, a land with tap to add a colorless. Pay 3 and tap it to discard a card, and look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Put one of those cards into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That's pretty darn good in an artifact deck there for discarding a card. You look at a bunch of the cards from your top of your deck, and you pick out the best artifact from among it there. Look at the top cards. You don't have to reveal it. You get to keep it a secret too. I like that one too. A little Journey to Nowhere action there. Don't mind that one with its extra artwork there. A little bit of Highway Robbery, and we're getting a little bit of that Lonely Ario. And, we're getting a little bit of the signage on Doc there. And he's got his axolotls with him. How nifty. How nice. All right, final 6 packs. What have we got? Are we going to get one more hit here? Well, we're going to get another art card for at least. Hard Bristle Bandit, Highway Robbery, Stagecoach Security, Train Eric's, Harrier Strix, Desperate Bloodseeker, Fake Your Own Death, At Knife Point, Shifting Grift, Requisition Raid, and Dust Animus there. 1 and a white for a Spirit, 2/3 with Flying with, if you control 5 or more untapped lands, Dust Animus enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters and a lifelink counter on it as well, and you can plot it for the same amount, which, again, you plot it out there, wait until you get your 5th land out there, they're all untapped, you play it out, it now becomes a 4/5 with lifelink. Yeah. Doesn't hurt too bad there. A little bit of Humiliate, a little bit of Sterling Supplier, Creosate, Heath, and we've got a little bit of, what's this here? Hard Bristle Bandit there. Ooh, boy. Did we get that one in this one here? We did. First card. Look, doubled up on him in that pack. Alrighty. Keep on going. Last 5. Now, I do understand that, if you don't put Dust Animus directly out and it's just a 2/3 with Flying there, you can be a little bit open to getting attacked with it there, but I mean, on a later turn, you can just bring it in if you really need to. Dance of the Tumbleweeds, Discerning Peddler, Armored Armadillo, Bristleback Sentry, Phantom Interference, Black Snag Buzzard, Miriam Herd Whisperer, Unfortunate Accident, Bovine Intervention. We're getting some ones that we haven't gotten yet in these. A little bit of Deep Muck Desperado. Oh, going back to the good old Homerids. When was the last time we got some Homerids? And we're also getting the Karavek, the Punisher. 1 and 2 black for a legendary human warlock with, whenever you commit a crime, exile up to 1 target black card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy. If you do, you lose 2 life. I mean, you're just putting some of the best stuff that you've got in your graveyard back onto the battlefield. You're not cheating it out, per se, there. It just costs 2 extra life to cast it, essentially. But there are plenty of cards now, like that we saw with, what is it there, the Sultai. We've got the Sultai Commander deck there, where that deals with a lot of cards leaving your graveyard to do stuff here. Here's a good one for you to do it there. You know, it's a copy, so, but it still leaves it because it gets exiled. A little bit of Fling. And we get a little bit of Quick Draw, and we get a little bit of Jagged Barons and a Bat. Alrighty. You know, even if we don't get anything more, we got plenty of stuff so far. Spinewoods Paladin, Rodeo Pyromancer, Sterling Supplier, Gold Pan, Gin of the Fool's Fall, Mourner's Surprise, Ankle Biter, Ankle Shanker, Jolene, she's here as well. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Plundering Pugilist. Lassoed by the Law. Like, again, we're just suddenly getting a bunch of uncommons that we haven't before. Treasure Dredger there, and for our card there, we're going to get a little bit of Willie Duke, Atlan Hero. 1, a green, and a white for Legendary Human Ranger, 4/2 with Vigilance, with whenever Wily Duke, Atlan Hero, becomes tapped, you gain 1 life and draw a card. I mean, that's kind of hard to do when it's got Vigilance, so yeah, I don't really like it. You have to intentionally tap it somehow there for like Convoke or something. And we get a little bit of Hypothesizzle. Nice card name there. And get a little bit of Crom, Violent Cacophony. Good old Crom coming back there. And yikes. A little bit of mountain there. Still no forest, though. Going without a full art forest. Down to our last 3 packs here. Seeing what we can get in the remainder there. Oh, getting another one there. A little bit of Marchesa action there. Trying to be slick, sly, and trying to be a... what do you call it there? Femme Fatale. Throw from the Saddle, Iron Fist Pulverizer, Brittle Bighorn, Conduit Pylon, Spring Splasher, Vault Plunderer, Fake Your Own Death. There's Crom there. Rictus Robber, Forsaken Miner. We get another one there. Nope, here's Vraska joins up. Okay, so we got the art card, and then we got the actual card. Black and a green for a legendary enchantment with, when Vraska joins up, enters the battlefield, put a death touch counter on each creature you control. Yikes. Everything you control just suddenly gains death touch. Whenever a legendary creature you control deals damage to a player, draw a card. Not too bad. Kind of like that one there, just because you give everything death touch. And we're also going to get a regular Outlaws Merriment, just, you know, not a foil one there. Choosing what we want to... Oh, not choosing, but we get random thing there. We also get a Sterling Keykeeper there and a Soured Springs. Alrighty. Second to last one there. Penultimate there, because, you know, we're going with whatever our Wolverine was there. Ragavacious or whatever it was. Trick Shot, Snakeskin Veil, Quilled Charger, Sterling Hound, Razzle Dazzler, Raven of Fell Omens, Cactus Folk Sure Shot. Again, another one that we hadn't seen before, though we had been getting a ton of redos. Gila Corsair, Brimstone Roundup, Intrepid Stable Master, and we're also going to get an Archmage's Mute, a 1 and a blue. This is the first mount that we've gotten. I mean, we've probably gotten mounts in all of the like commons and uncommons, but this is the only rare mount that we have. There is the Gitrog Monster. Gitrog Monster is a mount. That is a very interesting mount. 1 and a blue for a 2/2 Salamander mount with whenever Archmage's Newt deals combat damage to a player, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until the end of turn. Flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. That card gains flashback of 0 cost until end of turn instead if Archmage's Newt is saddled. I like it. I like it a whole lot. You have to deal combat damage with it, but you can give something really big, really flashy in your graveyard a flashback cost of 0. Can't ignore that. A little bit of Tyrant Scorn, a little bit of Conduit Pylons, and in the second to last pack, we get the full art forest there, just among all of the cactuses there, the cacti. We get our little forest token there, and get a little bit of plains. Nice and peaceful there for us. I guess that's a double up on full art lands then. Alrighty, well, got an interesting rare there, and we got our forest in the very last one, second to last one there. So what is the last one going to give us, if anything? I swear, all of these are sealed. All of these are sealed, and I talk about the Gitrog Monster, and it comes up there. Like, first I'm like, yeah, you know, like, it'd be great to get Bristly Bill. It'd be great to get Terror of the Peaks. And then this, like, what is going on with this here? And we get all of these hits here. Explosive Derailment, Sterling Keykeeper, Cactarantula, Wanted Griffin, Daring Thunder Thief, Consuming Ashes, Outlaws Fury, Congregation Griff, Canyon Crab, doing a little bit of the crab rave dance there, Rise of the Varmints. Yep, and we do get a double up here. Campbell, Profiteering Mare, 1 a white and a black for a legendary Human Advisor 2/4 with whenever 1 or more tokens enters the battlefield under your opponent's control. For each of them, create a tapped token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once each turn. That kind of seems good in like the Doran, Siege Engine, Abzan new commander deck there. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter this battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Again, still, like, this seems great in there because it's got a toughness that's larger than its power. I could see it being put into one of those there. And we're also going to get Repulse and a little bit of Bucolic Ranch there, Desert, and finishing up with that Abraded Bluffs. All right. Well, we got a lot of hits. Like, this also was unexpected, but it's just like, you know, we got a ton of the vault cards there. We got a few of these jail cards there. And then we also just happened to hit the 2 most expensive mythics, or just, you know, cards in the regular packs there. I don't know where this is, but, you know, I like this. I like this. I don't know how I feel about these, but all in all, like, I think that this was a great opening, and I've got no complaints on this here. So I know for certain that this box more than paid for itself there with all of the hits that it got. So thanks for coming to join me on this kind of surprisingly awesome box opening. Like, I know that I didn't really talk too much about the cards because, I mean, I'm not too fond of the cowboy theme, but hey, we got a lot. A lot. And I just feel lucky that I'm able to open up stuff like this here and be able to play a game that I love. So thanks for joining me on this little diary entry here. Open up all of these cowboy cards and going out into the desert to find what we can find and drinking some cactus juice like Sokka from Airbender, because hey, Airbender, Avatar The Last Airbender is going to have their own set in magic. Get ready for it. Have a great day. Have a nice evening. Have a nice night. Whatever you're doing, just take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. See you later.